Okay, goal 4.1 is factoring out a common factor. Okay, as I stated before, when we're factoring, we're doing the opposite of what we did in goal 3. Instead of taking the parentheses out, we're going to put them back in. Today, in goal 4.1, all we're doing is looking for a common factor. Although, that rule of looking for a common factor is going to carry over for the entire super goal 4. Every section that we do, that's an important step. In goal 4.1, that's all we're doing. We're just looking for a common factor. Please know that you did this real briefly when we did the solve formulas thing, where we factored out a common factor. It is simply the opposite of our distributive property. Your common factor could be a number. Your common factor could be a variable. It could be a variable to a power. It could be more than one variable, or it could be all those things together. So it doesn't have to be just a letter or just a number, but it could be. Okay, so you're going to look at every single term to see what's the same or what they share. So example 1, 18, 12, 24 share a common factor of 2, but that is not the greatest common factor. They share a common factor of 3, but that is not the greatest common factor. They share a common factor of 6. So you're going to take a 6 out as a common factor. The first term has x, the second term has y, the third term has no variables. So there are no variables common to all of them. So 6 is the only thing I'm going to take out as a common factor. Whatever you take out then gets divided into each of those terms. So 6 into 18 leaves me 3x. Minus 6 into 12 is 2. Y comes over. My signs are not changing. 6 into 24 is 4. So two things. One is I would, which I always do, mentally go back and distribute this. 18x minus 12y plus 24. Because you should get back what you started with. So if you just do a quick mental check on that. And then the second thing you need to do is make sure that there's nothing common to the things that are left in the parentheses. So 3, 2, and 4 have nothing common other than 1. If there would still be something common when you look at that, then that wasn't big enough. Okay? So that's two things I would do. I would mentally just real quick multiply it back out in my head, and then just double check that there's still that there's nothing common of the things left in parentheses. Okay? Okay, my next one. I have a 6 and a 12, so again 2 and 3, but 6 is the greatest. They both have x's. One has an x to the second power. One has an x to the first power. So x to the first power is the common factor. I can't take out x to the second. The other one doesn't have that many. And divide. 6 into 6 is 1. X into x squared leaves me the other x. The 1 would be optional because I still have an x there. 6 divided into 12 is 2. X divided into x would cancel. Do my check. 6x squared plus 12x. Nothing common to the two things in parentheses. Nine and 15. Common factor to both of those is 3. One term has an x to the third, one term has an x to the first. X to the first is what's common. It's always the lower power. They both have a y to the first, which means y to the first is common. And I divide. 3 into 9 is 3. X from x to the third leaves me x to the second. So I took 1 from the 3, leaving me x squared. Y into y would cancel. Minus 3 into 15 is 5. X into x would cancel, and y into y would cancel. And again, I would mentally just do a quick check. You get back what you started with, and then again, make sure what you have in parentheses does not have a common factor other than 1. Okay. 14, 7, 28. 7 is my common factor, my greatest common factor. I have an A, and I have an A squared. So always the lower one. A. I have B squared, B, and B, so the lowest one, leave the 1, understood 1 power. And I divide. 7 into 14 is 2. A divided into A would cancel. B divided into B squared leaves me B. Minus 7 into 7 is 1. A into A would cancel. B into B would cancel. The 1 is absolutely necessary there. You have to have it. Minus 7 into 28 is 4. A into A squared leaves me A. B into B would cancel. Now, it's very common for people to leave the 1 out of that answer. But if you do the mental check, you're going to see that you're not going to get back. If you eliminated that, if you didn't write that, when you go to check it, that doesn't show up. So that's why I would just mentally recheck real quickly. Look at all 3. They do not share a common factor. In the next one, this is where I want you to use your calculator. If you go to your calculator, and you don't have to do this, I'm just giving you a quick way to do something. And you go to the button, under the green button says Math, and you press that button. And across the top you have some options. And if you cursor one place over, NUM stands for number. You with me? And then go down to number 9, where it says greatest common divisor, which is the same thing as the greatest common factor. Press enter, and you'll see GCD parentheses, and I put my 2 numbers in. 72, comma, there's a comma on your calculator, it's above the 7, and then 120, and then close the parentheses, and then enter, and my greatest common factor is 24. Okay, so go through it again. Go to Math. To the right at the top is number, NUM. Go down to number 9. And then you should get GCD parentheses. Okay, and then you put in the 2 numbers that I'm trying to find the greatest common factor for.
Yeah,
So,
but I could take this.
no, you didn't press number 9. Maybe yours. Math. Go over to number. 9. Are you doing that? Okay, I just got it. It worked now. I don't know why. Okay, wait a minute. 72, comma, 120, and then you get 24. Now, you can do more than 2 numbers, but you can only do 2 numbers at a time. It won't let you do 3 at a time. So like if you had a 3rd term there, you could do the GCD of the first 2, then take that answer and do the GCD of the next, that answer in the 3rd one. Okay? So 24 is my GCD. So use it not, I don't care, but just so you know it's there. Okay, so I have A and A squared. So I'm going to take out A. I have B squared and B. So I'm going to take out B to the 1, C to the 3rd, and C to the 3rd, so I can take out C to the 3rd. They both have it. And D squared and D to the 3rd, I can take out D squared. Then I divide. 24 into 72 is 3. A into A cancels. B into B squared leaves me B. C to the 3rds cancel. D to the 2nds cancel. Minus 24 into 120, is that 5? I think so. A into A squared leaves me A. B into B cancels. C to the 3rd into C to the 3rd cancels. D squared into D to the 3rd leaves me D. And then again, you can do just a quick check. and then make sure that there's nothing common left in the parentheses. So like if you had an A on both terms in parentheses, then you didn't take out enough A's. Okay? Okay, and my last one, I want to point out one thing on this one that's different than the others. And this is the fact that the leading term is negative. And if I am factoring, I always take out a negative common factor if my leading term is negative. It's not necessary, or you don't have to do it, but it helps factor in the long run. Okay, so I don't care if you do it or not, that's going to be your choice. You'll see the effects that it has when we get to trinomials. Okay, so in this particular case, I would take out a common factor of a -4. So 4 is my common factor, and because the leading term is negative, I would take out a negative. And then x squared, x to the third, x squared is x squared, y squared, y squared, y to the fourth, take out y squared. And then divide. Now, all my signs are going to change because I did that negative. So -4 into -12 is +3. X squared, y squared would cancel. -4 into +8, -2. X squared into x to the third is x. Y squared into y squared would cancel. And the last one, -4 to -4, +1. X squared into x squared would cancel. Y squared into y to the fourth is y squared. The 1 is optional because I do have a y squared. I don't have to have that 1 there. If you took out a positive common factor, which is absolutely fine, so I want to emphasize that you do not have to take out a negative, then you just don't have any sign changes in the parentheses. Okay? I would accept either of those answers. Either one of them is fine. Okay? Okay, so I want you to go to your textbook.